that happen, you know? Okay. Where did you get that music from?
Yeah, it's they got a bunch of free music you can use.
Yeah, I've used it. I've used that before. It sounds pretty cool.
Okay, we got about 2 minutes, Dan.
2 minutes, got it. Get some drink. We should do a drum cast.
Sorry, your volume is really low. I have the music on. Hold on. Yeah, I can't really hear you that well with the music. Sorry. What'd you say, Dan?
I said we should do a drum cast. Or a drinking cast. Or a drink.
Sorry, man. I can't really hear you too well because of the music. I have the levels set a certain way, so I hear it in my headphones, but can't raise your volume, unfortunately.
Okay.
I can do this. You can type it in the chat if you want, though. The Zoom chat.
I'll tell you when we start.
right.
Yeah, I know you guys do that. That's just what I said. I know we got
I have no clue what you're saying, bro. All right, here we go. 3, 2, and 1. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Forever Conscious Research Channel. I hope you find yourselves doing well on this Friday. Happy Friday, by the way. I would like to welcome back Dan from the OverWatchProject.com and OverWatchChannel here on YouTube. He also goes by OverWatchProject on ODYSEE, and you can find links available in the description as well. So I just want to jump right in here today. I'm getting my screen. There we go. What we plan to discuss today is suppressed human superpowers and hypnosis, the positives and the negatives. So welcome, Dan. Good to have you back, brother. How you doing today?
Great, good. How are you, Mark?
Doing well, thank you.
So when I was trying to talk to you when the music was playing, I was making a joke. I was making a joke that we should have a drink cast where we see what happens if we each take a shot like every half hour.
Oh boy, yeah, that can get a little dangerous. Sure, why not?
Well, I mean, it'll probably end up that your stream will be pulled at some point.
Yeah.
We'll say something because apparently in the last stream, I can be reviewing a movie and it gets taken the wrong way. So
that was so ridiculous. And I know it was because of the movie, because it was within the first couple minutes that I saw it come through. So what the hell else could it have been? Ridiculous.
Yeah. So, I mean, I wasn't saying anything. I was just talking about a movie. But anyway, yeah, so it's good to be back.
Yeah, it's always good to have you. So I'm looking forward to today. We were going to discuss first up, the suppressed human superpowers and how that is shielded from us. Our abilities are shielded from us and comes in the form of sci-fi and all sorts of movies. Meanwhile, we are capable of doing some freaking amazing things, and the system doesn't want us doing it. So,
right.
Yeah.
So, have you ever had, I was going to talk about some of my experiences, but you have had your own experiences where either unintentionally or without realizing how you're doing it, you have an event happen where clearly you were manipulating, reality in a way that, obviously isn't normal or it was supernatural. You ever have that happen to you?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, all sorts of weird things. And even like we were talking about before, I went to Trevor Seven's YouTube channel. I think this was in like 2017, 2018, something like that. And I was kind of on a mission to prove that we're able to do certain things, and was able to do hydrokinesis, aerokinesis, and telekinesis. And it requires a lot of effort. At least it did for me. Maybe for other people it's a lot easier. I know if you're younger, you have an easier way of doing it, but I don't really remember anything like that as a child. But I know you have a story about that. Like you were talking about how you were always trying to move the penny.
Yeah, when I was a child, I was very big into wanting to be more than, I would my favorite TV shows, comic books. Well, Spider-Man was one of my big ones. it was just like I felt like I was trapped in this world where you're kind of like helpless, in a way. But really, we're more than our bodies, and we're capable of so much more. But we're kind of shackled into this form, and while we're here, but sometimes you find out is that you're more powerful than you realize, and things happen. Yes, I did spend a lot of time as a child. I wanted to try to move a penny, so I would stare at this penny for like hours. It never moved. It never moved. But I did have other things happen by accident, where I don't know exactly how I caused something to happen. It just seemed to happen. So one of the things I've talked about in the past was I was helping my dad put in these foundation points for this. It was going to be a combination like shed and like a play fort for me to play in when I was little. My dad was a a carpenter and a cabinet maker, and he built our whole house where I lived. And he also would build things, so we were building like this shed, and I was helping him dig the holes for the foundation. Now it was cool out. It was I don't know if I had actually completely cleared my mind of thoughts, or I was in some kind of hypnotic state or I don't know exactly what I did. The thing is, I don't know how I did it. So I'm digging in the ground, and I became aware. I'm sure some of the audience probably, and you may have heard this story before. I became aware, almost like I could see it in 3 dimensions. It's very hard to explain in words. I was seeing it in my mind, but it was as if I was seeing it visually. Okay. But it wasn't with my eyes because it was under the ground. So, and the thing is, I still have it, and it's I have photographs of it on my website, OverWatchProject.com, under the artifacts section. So I knew, and the thing is, I had a knowing of it. It was an arrowhead, and like a Native American arrowhead, flint arrowhead. And I had like a knowing about it. Like I knew, and I was also in some kind of like a trance state. It was like this weird, very relaxed sort of state that I was in. And so I dug into the ground, and I pulled out this big clump of dirt. Now, visually, externally, can't see anything except dirt. And I was sort of like in like a trance state. So I take this clump of dirt, and I just left what I was doing, and I casually just walked into the house. And, I lived in an Italian house, so everything was very clean. My mother was very orderly, and I just kind of casually walked into the bathroom. And I just turned on the sink. I put the dirt under the sink. The water starts washing away the dirt. My mom was like, "What are you doing? You're getting dirt away." Anyway, my dad was a kind of a skeptic about things, but my mom was standing right there, and she watched the dirt kind of melt away in my hands, and there were some stones that fell out, and then I'm holding, as the water washed everything away, this flint arrowhead. I don't know if you've gone to my website there.
Yeah. Yep. The artifacts tab. Yeah, I remember.
Yeah. So that arrowhead, that's where that came from. I still have it. I kept it, and it's a reminder of that thing. Now, I can't tell you what exactly that was. I guess that's considered clairvoyance? Clairvoyance or
clairvoyance, I would say.
Or
clairaudience.
That would be sound.
No, that's right. No, you were visually seeing it.
I was visually seeing it almost like in a holographic way, where I not only was visually seeing it, but I almost, and I can't quite remember everything, but it's almost like I knew what it was and everything about it for a moment. I think if I could have kept that moment going, I would have been able to tell you who had it, how it was made, how it got lost there. You know,
I think
obviously.
you ever try? I know you're not really one to meditate too much, but you ever try holding it and maybe meditating, or hold it and even maybe try like walking in nature with it and just holding it in your hand, thinking about it? You
I
might
have
get something weird happen.
maybe I have tried holding it, looking at it, meditating, sort of concentrating on it. Now, this event was supernatural. It was like a superpower, right? It just kind of happened accidentally. I couldn't recreate it later. I tried. Um, so I don't know what I did to trigger it in the first place. I don't know. I mean, I was pretty young at the time, but it was like such a powerful experience that I never forgot it. Like it was like, and then the object is so important to me. I've kept it, for all these years, and I put it in like a box, and it's got like cotton bedding in it to keep it protected, and keep it safe. And this event, maybe I didn't realize until later, but I mean, it was like when I hear people talk about or materialists try to just blow away psychic phenomena or mediums or anything like that. I'm like, I think they're also intentionally, because of their absolute firm belief, which is also embedded in their subconscious. They won't ever experience any magic or anything like that. They've blocked it out of themselves because to them it can't exist.
It's their own doing. If they believe that everything is, material, physical, your bag of bones when you die, and nothing exists beyond this earth, or if it does, there's no proof of anything, at least as far as we're told in the mainstream. Then they're creating their own reality, and in turn making it so that doesn't come as a possibility, like a medium,
Right. So, and then the other events briefly were there's a kinesis that is like affects randomness. I forget what it's called. It's almost like, you can affect the toss of a dice or a coin flip or some type of random event, like a gambling event. That happened to me several times. Again, I had no idea how I did it. I just know that it was beyond
the odds.
Chance.
Yeah.
It was beyond the chance. The 2 or 3 times, it may have been 3 times, in roulette, where I was in a casino on my birthday, and the first time it happened, I think I've told you about this before.
Yeah, but please continue, because we both have stories about this. Go ahead.
I was gambling on my birthday, doing the red black thing. I'm not a big gambler because I don't like to lose money that way. But I was just doing, having some fun. Small amount of money on red, small amount of black. Some reason, some woman starts talking to me. I tell her it's my birthday. She insists that I have to vote on gamble on a certain number, which turns out, in roulette, if you know anything about roulette, the chances of you getting a win on a specific number are 35 to 1.
Yeah.
35 to 1. That is really bad odds. That
it's the worst game in the house.
Yeah, it's absolutely the worst game in the house. The odds of you winning that is astronomically bad for you. So, but she talked me into it. I put $20 down. Next thing you know, the damn roulette wheel bounces a little bit as it's spinning, and it stops right there on that number. I'm like, holy crap! So I won 35. Excuse me, 35. Whatever 35 times 20 is. As soon as I did that, the pit boss uh, gave me a coupon for a free meal, and hey, we like to stick around, and they wanted their money
Of
back.
course. Hey, buddy.
Yeah, they were my friends immediately after I went. Anyway, a year later, I go back again. The same thing happens again, and then
Shit.
no, I mean there was no woman there. I just did it as like a tradition, and I think a third time it happened a couple years after that. So that becomes now way beyond chance. I'm like, what the hell, you know?
No, that's
How,
that goes out. Chance
that's
goes out the window. Yeah.
right. And then there was one other gambling incident where I again there is something to the fact where if you somehow want something to happen but then let it go, that's how I think some magicians describe magic works. You have to release it.
Yeah, into the
very
ether.
Hard yeah, it's very hard to do though. It's very hard.
It is.
But one time I did it again, kind of on accident because I'm not really good at controlling that. And I was in a casino. I was gambling on a slot machine, quarters, nothing big. And I had it like I wanted to win, but at the same time, I know I'm not going to win. So I put the money in the slot machine. I pulled the handle, and I did something very unusual. I just turned around to walk away, presuming that
you lost.
I'm just going to lose and just forget about it. As soon as I did that, the damn jackpot thing goes off, and I won I don't know $700 or $800 out of that machine.
Nice.
And I'm like, how the hell, And it's like, so that there is like a Marvel comic book character called Domino, and she has this. Her superpower is luck.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, and no matter what she does, it always works out in her favor. And I guess there is, I did read in one of those lists of those websites I sent you. There was a kinetic power for chance to come into your favor. I don't remember what the name of it was, but that's my experience with that kind of stuff. I haven't tried remote viewing. That might be interesting. Again, that's another power commonly known, right?
Yeah.
The government even admits it now.
Yeah. And there's it's one of, in my opinion, one of the most, I think because there is a lot to it, that it's one of those areas that is absolutely saturated with bullshitters. Just ridiculous. And I just, we've talked about in the past about, actually, I don't know if you and I have, we may have, but about remote viewing in the Soul Trap. And literally every single one that I've found, with the exception, which this drives me nuts, there was a remote viewing group in Russia, I believe it was, who seemed to have a bunch of interesting information. I remember scanning through it, and I bookmarked it, but for the life of me, I cannot find the damn thing. I don't know if it's on, one of my older computers or whatever, but all the other ones I just feel are complete bullshitters, or, misled or purposely muddying the waters. I mean, the whole thing with the 45-degree angle, I mean, that's the most nonsensical thing out there. And, I'm not even going to get into Courtney Brown. I mean, I'm not even going to go. I'm not even going there.
Well, the thing is that we live in this age of information. You've mentioned before on your other podcasts, as I've listened to your earlier videos, just that, we might as well enjoy it while we got it, right? Because the only way me and you and other people have learned about what we talk about is because we have literally access to information on an unbelievable scale.
Absolutely.
Right? And so in order to suppress people from knowing correct information, it's way beyond propaganda now. It is a sophisticated.
Yeah.
It's a very sophisticated, and if you're not aware of it, it'll manipulate you constantly. It's an extremely sophisticated misinformation campaign that's all over the internet, right?
Yeah.
So it's very subtle because it can give you 50% truth and 50% bullshit. There are people out there. They sound very convincing. You have to constantly check on what people are. Friends send me links and stuff like that, and I have to go and see, is this true? And sometimes it's not. And but other times that same source might give you completely accurate information. It's almost like it's orchestrated on a very expert level of psychological manipulation.
Mm-hmm. No, it's
so
insane.
yes,
it's
so I mean the government, what gets out, remote viewing gets out. Okay, it gets out to the general public, and so you have to have these very convincing but wackos out there, and they muddy the waters.
Yep.
They muddy the waters, and you get stuck with fakes and stuff like that. So that's how they keep most people from knowing stuff, and people are very confused about things. It's confusing to me. I'm sure.
Of course, I think it's confusing to everybody.
sometimes I'll be listening to somebody for months, and then I realize, oh wait, there's something wrong here.
Yeah.
It doesn't.
I think that gets better over time, but yeah, I mean, as the years go by, I think discernment gets a little better, but you could still walk into a freaking landmine and because they can cloak themselves so well. Like there's a few out there that are absolutely amazing at what they do, and they could get past the smell test, sniff test, and slip through, but I find that they're not as hard to find out as they used to be, but for a long time, talked about in the past, man, got my ass kicked left and right by these motherfuckers.
Yeah. So if you're trying to research magic, psychic powers, human potential, and there's so many there's scammers out there. There's some genuine people out there, and there's this mixed bag disinformation agents, and some of these people want to charge an outrageous amount of money for supposedly teaching you how to do this stuff, like a crazy amount.
Oh, yeah, no, they're I mean, a lot of the ones who are in on it are retired and part of the papers, all the declassified papers. I mean, there is a whole remote viewing in of itself. Like I truly feel it was released by design, just because of how prevalent it is out there in the alternative research community, I guess you'd say, spiritual areas, truth areas. And they didn't have to put it out. It came out and they voluntarily put it out. Hundreds and hundreds of pages of stuff. With the whole Stargate papers, the Monroe, the Gateway process. I mean, all this stuff that they put out, they didn't have to, but they did, and then they built narratives around them on top of it. So I
think Monroe was just he was just an average guy. Once he created an institute, it was quickly infiltrated and manipulated. But the thing is that between him and other people like Raymond Moody, it was people were starting to get from non-official sources information that there's a supernatural there's all of this supernatural stuff, and it's not just in comic books or movies. It's actually for real. And so the government does something like release these Stargate papers, and then they also muddy the waters with these agents that are former worked for them.
Mm-hmm.
So,
I mean, some of the people that you can go to classes like Joe McMonagle and back in the day, you can with Ingo Swann. I mean, the amount of money these people are charging to take their classes was insane. I mean, Ingo Swann's dead now, but Joe McMonagle was doing a course, I think, this year, not that long ago at the Monroe Institute. So these things are. I mean, it's a lot of money out there, and if you just think about it, you're Joe McMonagle, you're in the freaking papers, and I mean that gives you mad clout. You can, you're a cash register. You can charge whatever the hell you want. I mean, it's true. It's because people want to go directly to the source who was involved with all these experiments. I want to bring up Anton Love's comment because I really connect with this a lot and agree. Anton says to us, remote viewing as well as hypnotic regression has a lot of unreliable information, is kind of like somebody or something is, quote, tapering with the signal, end quote, and injecting at some point images or feelings. In my experience, some of it is incredibly accurate, but a lot is sometimes completely unreliable. And I agree. I'll just say this about with remote viewing, the way I look at it is at least as it pertains to the soul trap, there's just not enough out there. There's not enough people who I think are legitimately doing it. So that kind of just throws it away. As far as the regressions go, I mean, it's not to take it into, not that we don't take it into consideration, but I purposely avoid talking about remote viewing on purpose because there's just not enough there. It kind of like, what you talk about, like the totality of the evidence, there's just not enough there. It's very, very basic. Whereas with the regressions, there's a lot there. I mean, there's a ton there. And I'm not in any way disagreeing, Anton, because I do think certain things can be thoughts, situations, can be injected into the experience or the person going under regression. But it's the long term. Like, there are way more regression cases out there than there are remote viewing. And so, we could at least identify patterns of the deception easily in regressions because there's just so much out there. There's enough to feel comfortable to sit on that. With remote viewing, I just don't feel it. So even despite any amount that may be implanted ideas, implanted lifetimes, or whatever the case may be, I think that there's more than enough there to show consistency in certain areas of the data pattern. So what do you think about that, Dan?
Oh, yeah. Well, first of all, something like remote viewing. I mean, it's not like, I think it's not like what I experienced, which was actually connecting to an object and knowing it. That was like a pure psychic experience with the arrowhead. It wasn't like what I watch when I see people do remote viewing, which is just kind of like sitting there being a receiver, and you really don't know where the signals are coming from, right? And I'm sure the Matrix doesn't want you to know, or it won't allow you to receive information about the reincarnation soul trap, at least not anything accurate. I mean, technically, your body is, lack of a better word, your body is a matrix construct avatar.
Yeah.
It's housing your consciousness, which is the real source of power, your consciousness. Mm-hmm. And then you're trying to remote view using physical, which is channeling your consciousness, which is being channeled through your physical brain. and then you're trying to receive data about something in the matrix. So I think one case was what the successful case was. The U.S. government used remote viewing to correctly diagram some valve in a Soviet Union nuclear power plant. They wanted to know how these cooling valves worked, or some type of valve. And it wasn't until after the Cold War that they realized that they had correctly, that the remote viewers correctly diagrammed the equipment. Because then they were able to verify that, that's how it works. That they had it right. But you're still just, you're getting it from the system.
Yeah.
You're basically asking the system to show you the system. So does it really care? Does it really care if you know about a valve? No.
And the whole thing with the whole space alien linkage to it and everything. I mean, I
even
you mean
that YouTube channel with the remote viewers with the aliens and.
Oh well, there's that. There's a whole, like, I don't know. I would say like a mini industry kind of related to it. Remote viewing aliens, remote viewing this,
with the Palladians, and
all this crap. Yeah, it's endless. And the only thing, like, I've honest, this is, don't want to veer off too much. This is just strictly opinion, but I don't know what to make of these quote unquote nuclear power plants. I look at them and I feel like I think they're probably just like free energy devices. I don't even know if what they say occurs there does. I mean,
well, I can be honest with you.
Go ahead.
To be, and I have to get clarification. I have to get clarification from my friend. But as you well know, I have a friend that used to work in nuclear power. Okay.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
But and the engineer and all that stuff. Now, I had to get clarification from him, but he is going through. He's been going through a big awakening for all this stuff. And now, one day, I didn't get him to clarify what he meant. But he was telling me that he questions everything now. Everything is up for grabs, and then he did just kind of casually throw in there nuclear power, but I don't know what he meant by that. And the fact that he worked in the plant, I mean, that he received years and years of training on this stuff and went to school for it, and he also served on a ship that was nuclear powered. So I don't know, but when he said that, I was like, whoa, what does he mean by that? That's pretty big. What do you mean?
Have you ever seen? God, I'm never gonna remember his damn name. But there was a guy who worked at. It's a pretty. I don't know. It made the rounds in YouTube years ago. It's probably still out there. I'm sure it's out there somewhere. There's a guy who lectured around the whole U.S. and he was bringing all sorts of samples from a nuclear, I think, power plant that he worked at, and he would be messing with it. I think he even ate it or something, and it was a pretty damn in-depth lecture, and the guy was fine. I didn't find anything bullshit about it. Let's put it that way. And he was kind of just blowing the whistle that, look, none of this makes any sense. It's what they're claiming. Yeah, Gail Windsor. Thank you. Soul Red Analytics says Gail Windsor. That's the name. Yep, that's the guy. Thank you. Okay. But yeah, check out that lecture if you can find that out there. It's interesting. And then, I mean, it just makes sense, because think about how many nuclear power plants are out there too. I mean, there's so freaking many. And, I am going to just say one word, Fukushima, and then we're not even going to continue, because I've seen shit go down with other channels that talk about it. So we'll just leave that
there. You can still find him. I just do a YouTube search.
Yeah.
His videos are there. There's a 24-minute video. It comes up right away. Yeah, well, sure. Well, you've read, I'm sure maybe a lot of people in the audience have read too, Tesla's autobiography.
Yep.
When I read Tesla's autobiography, I actually listened to it on Audible, but when I listened to it, I was blown away by what he was saying in that book. That's his own autobiography.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and he's talking about all this stuff that supposedly we're told can't be done.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah. I mean, and well, the crazy thing too about the whole free energy thing is how it's manipulated and linked in with gravity when the whole damn thing is clearly magnetic. I mean, it couldn't be more obvious, and so like they even mislead us as, you know, magnetics and the ether. It has something to do with that. It has absolutely, in my opinion, nothing to do with gravity, whatever that is, because it is called the theory of gravity after all. But it's yeah, I mean, it's crazy. There is a great book that I read, and there was someone else who brought up something in here in relation to I'm going to be careful with this one. You know, the atomic bombs that were dropped. And I have the book somewhere. I'll try and find it on the break. But it's a hell of a book. And there are people out there who have gone thoroughly over the test sites and the clown show that's involved with that. Out in was it New Mexican desert or something like that? But
well, look, have you ever heard of? I know we're getting off on a tangent here, but this is interesting. Yeah. I hope everybody finds this stuff interesting. Decades ago, these people were working with trying to make graphene film, and they were using a computer's tower. They were basically putting graphene on a DVD disc, and they were using the laser from inside the disc player to create very thin sheets of graphene. Like graphene is a very simple, cheap. It's simple. It's cheap. It's biodegradable. You can put this stuff in your garden and it becomes fertilizer. It's not toxic. Now, I knew when I
you're not going where I think you're going, right?
With batteries.
Okay, no. Okay, go ahead.
With batteries,
I thought you were going to say something else. Okay.
Batteries are notorious for being they're very toxic. The batteries we're using, right? All of them. Now, graphene, when these people were working with this graphene substance, and this was like maybe over 15 years ago, right? It started to make the news. It was in some, magazines like Wired, and there was. I'm thinking if you try to find it on YouTube, there's probably some videos about it. They were. I forget why they were doing this. It was for another purpose, but they were stacking these graphene films on top of each other, and one of them bumped into like a voltage meter, and the thing lit up, and the guy working on it was like, "Wait, this stuff is storing electricity." So they did some experiments, and there was all these articles that were out like 15, 20 years ago about graphene batteries, cheap batteries. They work better. They're faster to charge. They when they degrade, you can basically just open them up, pour out the insides into your garden. It's biodegradable. It turns into fertilizer. Now, have you ever heard of? And you can't go into a store even today and buy a graphene battery. They're still making cars with these lithium ion batteries. If they get wet, if you have that stalactite stalagmite connection between the bottom and the top of the battery, the damn thing will catch on fire. The other batteries, nickel hydrate, they're all built with stuff from strip mining. It's horrible, right? So they're very toxic. They're polluting. They're toxic. They're not good. But we have apparently had this technology. I have not heard it has disappeared. You don't hear about graphene batteries anymore. And that's something that they had out in the open for a while, and then they just made it disappear. So it's not like one of these things where they can try to say, well, you can't have perpetual energy. You can't do it. It's not physics won't allow it. I don't know. Everything in nature seems to be perpetual. the weather system seems to be pumping out a lot of energy, and it seems to be perpetually beating, especially down here where we live, the lightning capital of the world. There's a lot of electricity flying through the air. I don't see it running out of steam, or there's less of it today than there was like 10 years ago.
That's crazy. Yeah, they've totally bamboozled us with the whole, I mean, just the, obviously they would send out the big guns for anything related to free energy, clearly, and they've done that in a huge way. I mean, the amount of bullshit I used to read and fall for with the free energy. Not like I'm Mr. Free Energy here, but I mean, I know, I was misled on a lot of stuff back in the day. But let's kind of rewind to
superpowers.
Yeah, let's go back to superpowers. We kind of diverted a little bit there. Right. All right. Yeah.
So there's websites. I sent you the links. Just some of the ones I found today looking around. You got telekinesis. Some ones that I've learned about recently, Umbra Kinesis, which I think Trevor 7 did some work with. Umbra Kinesis.
Which one is that? I don't know if I know. I'm really familiar with the basic ones. Aerokinesis, Hydra,
Everybody knows about the telekinesis, right? It's like the Jedi Sith mind, thing where you're pulling or pushing something, you're moving an object, which definitely works, right? You can take a piece of tinfoil, you put it on a needle, you can have that balanced, and then you cover it with a glass, some kind of glass covering, so that absolutely no air can get into it, and then you can concentrate on it. You can start making the thing spin right. You can make it spin left, right? You can stop it. You can move it. And apparently, anybody, at least probably most everybody, can learn how to do that.
Yeah.
But you're moving something very light. Now, is that because our subconscious mind, in the original Star Wars, in The Empire Strikes Back, when Luke Skywalker's trying to lift the X-wing out of the water and he can't because he says it's too heavy, and then Yoda's like, "It's not. Weight doesn't matter. You just don't. Basically, you just don't believe." And then he lifts the X-wing out of the water and puts it down. Is this little trick that we do with the aluminum foil? Is it just because deep down in our subconscious mind we have all this programming that you can't do this, you can't do that, and then you're still able to overcome it a little bit because you can do it. But where does the power of telekinesis actually stop? See, if we were to be able to awaken this stuff in human form here on Earth, then you eliminate a lot of the threats around you. I mean, of course, there's the thing I told you about before. If in mass people were starting to develop supernatural abilities that they could use out in the open, they would be kind of drastic, on a drastic level. You would immediately have a bureaucracy set up to register and laws created for people with supernatural abilities. So if there are people now, not to get stop this, but there was a book. I don't know if it was one of Monroe's books or if it was a different OBE writer, talked about that on Earth, there's about 600 or 700 people that absolutely have like God level powers, and they don't tell anyone. And mostly all of them live very simple lives in seclusion. Did you ever hear that?
Yes. Yes.
You know what I'm talking about?
Oh, yes. Yeah. Yeah.
Now,
I
now
mean,
that would be kind of like the smartest thing to do, because if you did, if it would be great if you had abilities, but you would definitely not want to tell
no.
anybody. So if there are people around that can do amazing things, I think most of them stay completely under the radar. They don't.
They're
This
it would be
is
smart to do that, and they're most likely learning it from a very select, guru, so to say, or family member, or something where like they're gonna tell them, hey, don't go flaunting this shit.
yes. Mostly, I think it comes with an exchange. The more abilities you have, the more actually most people probably become more humbled or more careful, because they don't want people to know that they can do certain things. Umbra kinesis, in case because I didn't finish explaining that, is the ability to manipulate darkness, or to, I guess, remove light from a room or over something. And I know that Trevor Seven, he actually has a video of doing that or something. I don't know what usefulness that would be.
Man,
I don't know where that would come in. I don't know that can be useful. Personally, I think telekinesis certainly would be damn cool. My thing would be, in today's world, electrokinesis would be the shit power. I mean, that would be the shit power. That would be the one that would be, because everything around you works on electricity, and the ability to make things shut off, make things turn on, you maybe even manipulate how something's working, and not to mention the fact that people are also operating electrically, right? Your heart, your brain, everything operates electrically. I mean, you literally have one of the greatest self-defense powers out there, because you could control the electrical flow in somebody's body. You could definitely mess them up, turn them off even, right? So that would probably be the best one in the modern day world. There's one called omnikinesis. Have you ever heard of that one?
I have. What's the meaning of it? I don't even remember what it means.
That is okay. That's the ability to manipulate everything.
Oh yeah.
That's like what they call that, an OP, overpowered. That'd be an OP power. So I guess you'd have all the other kinetic powers, all of them. You would have hydrokinesis, telekinesis, everything with kinesis. There's a article by Dean Radin I sent you. I'm sure a lot of people listening already know who Dean Radin is. He did a lot of research into the science of some of this stuff, and he's got some really interesting books on it. In April 2018, he wrote this article, Attaining the Cities. That's the word I was trying to remember in the last interview. It's these superhuman powers that you can gain through yoga and meditation, supposedly. He has some historical accounts in his that he's talked about in interviews, and I think mentioned in his books, of people that have witnessed supposedly somebody being able to levitate. And there's this article has like things that can be achieved supposedly with yoga and meditation. Now, the problem is with me is I'm not good at either. I'm not good at turning off my mind. So I probably would never use yoga or meditation to do this. But I'm sure there's other avenues, because I think this is all something everybody can do. All these things are our consciousness can do it. Our bodies and brains are acting as a reducing valve and kind of a shackle on it. So it's the system here wants you to think you're just a human being, and the truth is you're not. Right? William Bowman, I think, does a great job of explaining that, especially in that one video you put out there where you show a lot of one of his presentations.
Oh, it's so loaded.
Right. And he, and I think he is, I think you're right. Bowman is fully aware, but has to walk a fine line between telling people stuff straightforward, like we tell them, and sticking to the, close to the edge, but he doesn't go over. He doesn't want, but clearly some of his messaging seems to be geared to getting out of here, right? Losing attachment.
So obvious.
You're way more than your body. You're not even this human form. You're something much, much more.
Yeah.
But according to Raiden, some of the things that supposedly now, actually, there's an odd show I watched. It was more of a comedy. Ricky Gervais produced it. You remember An Idiot Abroad?
Oh, yes. I've seen some of that years ago.
Okay. Yes. Great show.
It is. I like it.
Yeah, it's really great show.
Right.
And his friend there,
Carl.
Carl. Yes, Carl. What was his last name again?
I think Pinkerton or something.
Pinkerton. Yeah, something like that. Pinkerton. Carl went to India, and he was with these Hindus, and of course they don't have the subconscious blocks that the Western cultures have.
No,
we have a ton. We're raised to you're either materialistically raised, or you are raised in these religions that forbid any of this stuff. Right. But these Hindu culture doesn't really forbid it. It's actually kind of open. And so their subconscious minds aren't polluted with all this programming to stop them. And in that show, that's a comedy. He goes to these really, really weird places, and he meets these really, really eccentric people,
like the tribes, right? I think I remember this one you're talking about. Like he's like in a circle with the tribe, and they're just having a blast, right? And
well, there was that one, but there was one where he goes to India and he meets a lot of these Hindus, and the stuff that they were doing was practically supernatural. It was bizarre. This one, of course, they do have a religion. So it isn't pure. A lot of this stuff, even Gnosticism, okay? Gnosticism is, while I've referred to it many times, I also I'm aware, maybe I've never mentioned this, but clearly enough, but it is the reincarnation soul trap, but it's through a Christianization mythology.
Yep.
So I don't take that whole stuff with Sophia and this, that, and the other thing, and the Gnostic Jesus. No. That is just their rebranding.
Yeah, well said.
Of the reincarnation soul trap, which
100%
doesn't. Yeah, and so it's again giving you accurate information, but also a bunch of disinformation. Right?
It's unbelievable. Yeah. You have the three biggest ones that give us the clues are Hinduism, Buddhism, and Gnosticism. Those are the three that just throw it out there, but they twist the ever living shit out of them to mislead you. Right.
So Hinduism is more, I think, open to the supernatural capability. Powers of people than Buddhism.
Big time.
But and so in this show alone, he meets this one guy. This is actually bizarre because you have to have mind control over your body to an unbelievable, unnatural level that you simply couldn't do. Me and you couldn't do it because we don't have we have all this programming that we're still trying to get rid of. But the first thing in Dean Radin's article is exceptional mind-body control. That's the first thing you can, that he lists here is that you can achieve with yoga and meditation. Now, in that show, there is a guy he meets, and to pay homage to the gods or whatever. I forget it. I forget the exact reason, but it had something like that. To pay homage to the gods. He had forgone the use of I think it was his right arm. Now, he had basically held his right arm up in the air and never lowered it. Imagine holding your arm up like you're in class, like you're in a school classroom, and you're raising your hand. Pick me, right? You're not moving it, you're not waving it, you're just holding it up there, right? And then imagine not taking it down for decades.
Ugh.
Now, his arm was very deformed. It was extremely deformed.
Oh, I remember this. It's
you remember
back
that?
to me now. Yes.
And I'm looking at this and like, look at the mind control.
Yeah.
The mind control that this guy imposed over his physical body, his consciousness was able to overcome complete biological programming, and he's alive, he's fine. Yeah. But he's now, and then the thing is, Carl is blown away by this. He's disgusted by it. He's like, "Oh, this guy's crazy." But but they tell him in this thing, "Oh yeah, there's one guy did it with both arms, so he can only use his feet." And then he meets these other people that are doing like the self-mutilation, self-torture. I forget everything they were doing. It was like extreme shit, and they were feeling no pain. They were able, that is exceptional mind-body control, and that right there shows you that what we think we are, what we think we're capable of. It's and that's just the tip of the iceberg. Then you can get into clairvoyance, psychokinesis. You can start getting into there's one city number 3 according to Dean Radin, disappearance of the body from view. He writes, as a result of looking at the body with the inner eye, this is sometimes translated as the power of invisibility, because the Sanskrit aphorism contains words suggesting suspension of the course or limited projection of the body. But it may be also interpreted as the ability to perceive aspects of the body that are beyond the scope of ordinary senses. In other words, we can interpret this as clairvoyance or perhaps psychokinesis. But that if somebody were able to actually do that, they're either able to bend light around themselves, or they're able to put their physical body in like an altered dimension, so you can't see it anymore. I wouldn't even know how that is. We're talking about ancient writings from the Hindus, and they don't have any taboos about any of this stuff. Meanwhile, in the West, we got 4 billion some people in the Abrahamic religions, all being told to stone the witches, and because they desperately don't want that witchcraft and magic. People practice magic, especially solitary ones that don't do anything evil. They're learning how to do some of this stuff. It's the same stuff. It's just rebranded here as witchcraft.
Yeah. But same. Yeah, it's just totally. Same stuff. Yeah, exactly. It's just to deter us from looking into ourselves, questioning our reality, working with energy. I mean, the last thing they want to do is to, have us healing ourselves or others, or, I mean, that's like the base level. And then they don't want us being able to, move all sorts of crap. Like, I'll just throw in really quickly. I know we talked about it before. I mentioned some of the things I experienced when I was messing around with this stuff just to kind of, again, it was just to prove it to myself that we had these abilities. But I will say, like, I put myself basically like through a boot camp for a couple months and started to get results. The tinfoil is, you know, even though, yeah, it's kind of lame, it's a great starter. So for anyone out there that wants to try that, I recommend it, because it works. It makes you realize that, you know, you have innate abilities that you can use with your intention. So I suggest give it a shot. If you need to prove it to yourself. If you don't need to prove it to yourself, well, you know, you're going to waste some time there. So, but it's fun. You know, it's fun. It's interesting.
It's a great hobby. It's a great hobby.
Yeah, it's cool.
Connects you to, it shows you that you're more than just your physical body.
Yes.
But also, how insidious is it that the way that the religions have structured themselves, because they know that if people with intention can alter the reality around them, right? Mm-hmm. Under the right circumstances, they can do it. So what did they do? They created someone else to give credit to, right? So everybody gets together. There's somebody sick. They call it a miracle. There's a healing, but the credit doesn't go to all the people that put in the intention and the effort, the conscious work to help this person. The credit goes to whatever deity their religion created to give credit to, because it can't be you. You know, they definitely want you dispowered.
Yeah.
They want you as low as possible in your own opinion of your own capabilities. Because if this stuff were to get out on a significant level, then you'd have real comic book world out here, and you'd have different people with different abilities. And then what the hell would these people do? Because they couldn't control shit. They can't control shit, right? They would start to lose control of everything, which is one of the reasons I think they're desperate to try to probably do what you warned about, eventually try to take away or alter the way the internet works. Yeah. Because
I think that's coming.
The internet is what helped me free my mind.
Me too. Yeah.
Access to all this information. I really, it's a shame that most people have access to this much information and waste it so they don't use it for anything useful.
Well, it could, you know, the internet could be used for good. It could be used for bad, or it could be used for, you know, whatever, just mundane bullshit, which I guess is bad. But, sure. You know, but we are at an hour and 10 minutes, so we'll take about a 5-minute break now, and then there's a few more things I'd like to touch upon about the suppressed human superpowers, and then we'll move on to hypnosis, the positives and the negatives. That's a big one as well, and I'm also going to tie in some neurolinguistic programming with that, and there's a lot to kind of dive into there, but we'll condense it as much as possible. And so, Dan, let's just take 5 minutes, and thank you everyone for hanging in there. Yes, it looks pretty flat to me. And we'll be right back. Thank you so much.
All right. See you. I'm going to mute the mic then.
All right. Thank you.
All right.
I'm sorry. What did you want to say, Dan?
Yeah, I wanted to run something by you. So I wanted to run, because when we're talking about superpowers and our conscious, we're these conscious beings. But I wanted to give you kind of like sort of my loose theory. It doesn't mean it's right or anything of the way all this shit works.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and so obviously we individual conscious beings came from something, right? We originated from something. We have no idea, because of the veil of forgetfulness, where exactly we originated from, or if you remove linear time, some kind of eternal creation. I don't know. But wouldn't you say there has to be like a 0 point or some kind of creator to all this?
You're talking about everything in general, right?
Everything, yeah, like a general creator.
I can't help but no. I mean, that there has to be, but then the age-old question comes: where the hell did that one come from? I mean, but yeah,
I have spent many hours thinking about that, days, years, even
decades.
It's the closest I came to. I'm just going to put it out there, because it's probably wrong, probably not correct.
Who cares?
But I was wondering if the creator of everything, the all, if you will, originated because if there was nothing, it had to be defined by something that there's nothing. So that kind of made like a first 0 and a 1. And then it spread from there into everything. Does that make any kind of sense?
Yeah, makes sense to me.
And then whatever this, I think maybe the deists weren't that far off, and some of the hermetics.
Hermetics got a lot.
This creator that's at the like base level, or the original, like the what they call it, the 0 point, simply made a construct, and maybe reality, all realities come out of that construct. And
so you're saying all realities come out of that main source?
It's kind of like more of a rule, that the originator of everything simply generated a building block to and with very simple rules. And I think that because a lot of the founders of America were more actually deists. They weren't really Christians. They were just deists trying to talk like Christians. If you read their letters, they were clearly not. So that's where our kind of like Bill of Rights comes from kind of understanding of very thoughtful understanding of natural law, right? And then you try to figure out, how does a reincarnation soul trap happen? Is are we here in this reincarnation soul trap because it was one thing a long time ago and it was invaded, kind of like what Carl Castaneda wrote? Yep. Or is it more like Monroe's perception of what he was told, that it was manufactured? But either way, it has to operate within that construct, the original construct. And so because of those natural laws, it has to get your permission to put you in a reincarnation soul trap.
Okay, yeah, I just want to stop you there because before we go too far, and I forgot. As far as like one of the things I've talked about on the channel, I think it was in I called it the unsub special, the God, or God
Yeah,
or
I remember that one. I
creator,
remember.
quagmire. Like
Yeah.
one of the things I mentioned in there, and in a few other videos later on, is that even if there is this um, uh, source creator, which to me makes sense. I mean, I'm on board with you. That's what makes sense. There has, it kicked into overdrive, excuse me, and then became something bigger or more profound out of nothing, I guess you can say. So the one thing I put forward in that video and in a few others was that, okay, we know without any doubt in our mind, this is a fact, we know for certain that we are creator beings. So I guess the question has to be asked, where do the limitations start and where do they end? Like, are we able to bring into existence other beings with our intention as creator beings, or is that kind of like not allowed? Like, are we kind of, we could do all this crazy shit, all these amazing abilities, but is that something we're not able to do? But even with that in mind, it's still kind of, we all kind of link back to that that one source. I mean, so allegedly.
Yeah.
So
I don't.
it drives me crazy.
I don't know how it's regulated exactly, but I think something bad happens if you were to use that kind of. That's. I'm getting back to the superpowers because if you were to use that supernatural state to start to do things that are against those individual rights that seems to pervasively affect other conscious beings. I don't know if there's some kind of corrective system that takes effect or something bad happens to you. I don't know. Because with supernatural powers, if you think about it, witchcraft and magic, even there's corruption because they want you to think that you could never do anything destructive or what they call dark magic, because supposedly it comes back to you, right? They have this thing where, if you use your magic, if you use power for revenge, then it's going to come back
on you.
Yeah. Right. But I don't think that that's exactly how it works, because powers of destruction aren't necessarily evil. They can be used in self-defense. They can be used to enact justice on somebody that is doing evil.
I don't necessarily buy into it either. I don't. I think that where the line divides is if someone believes in that.
Yeah, that's another thing.
So
it's in your subconscious, and so you're going to make it happen. You're actually.
I mean, just look at the psychopaths who've run this place.
It's unbelievable.
I mean, they're fine. They look like creepazoids, but they're fine.
They do. They are fine. At the same time, they're allowed to do everything that they're allowed to do as a very tiny minority of people, because not me or you and the people listening to us now, most of them, I'm sure won't. Aren't a
few archons around here tonight.
but the general sheeple not only allow it, they believe that these psychopaths have the authority to do what they're doing.
Yeah, so they kind of empower it and validate it.
Yeah, they
validate their intention.
Yeah, so I'm not sure. See, that's
an interesting point.
Right, most people are so mentally, in some ways, actually, in some ways, sort of retarded in the way that they view authority, which doesn't really exist, and then they empower the people to do the harm that's being done to everybody because they believe that it's authorized. So even if you in order to get this stuff out of your mind, of course, you have to purge it out of your subconscious. And, because there's still, even with all the years and years of work I've done, I know there's still garbage programming buried in there.
Yep.
I mean,
Yeah,
you
I
ever
think we
talk
all
to some
have
of these?
that.
Yeah, you talk to some of these people, and they can't even fathom a world where somebody isn't ruling over them. They
Oh
can't. They
yeah, yeah.
can't.
Pick
They cannot imagine.
Libertarian Party, this part. Just pick some ruler to rule you.
Yeah, they just have different
Yeah.
versions of
Yeah.
what ruling party and what the ruler should do, but they still have the foundational belief that they need to be ruled over. They need to have
just back up BS that they have for options to make people feel like they can be outside of the mainstream paradigm, even though it's the mainstream promoting it. Same bullshit.
It's we get the end, like Wayne Bush is great at pointing out how much they tell you in songs.
Yes.
Same new boss, same as the old, same as the old boss.
Yeah. It's right in our face. Yeah.
Right, it's right in our face constantly. So so a lot of this stuff is to disempower us, to make us not realize how powerful we are. Yeah, I don't know what the limit is. I don't know if once you're out, well, especially once you're out of your body and you don't submit to the reincarnation soul trap anymore, and you kind of like get out of, once you get out of it or refuse to cooperate with it, I don't know what the limitations would be.
Yeah, that's the big question. I don't know.
Maybe you get all your memories back, find out where you originated from, and
yeah, I think that does come. I really do. I don't even question that. I feel like that's automatic. I feel like this is, just again, like we're condensed into this whole system. And, and then there's multiple veils in the astral, transcend the whole thing, and our whole being comes back into alignment, memories and all, everything.
Yeah. There's a couple comments. Oh, but we can vote for them. With quotes, being sarcastic. Yeah, I always say, I agree with that meme. The voting box, the suggestion box for slaves, and then there's a one after that. Steve Scott says humans are our own prison guards. That's it exactly.
Yeah,
we're our own prison guards. So we don't even in this horrible condition that we're in, we're not violating natural or possibly the original creator's laws because we're allowing it to happen. So when I was young, I did a lot of I went to the library. I would go to the library, get books out about UFOs and stuff like that when I was little. And then I found this book about self-hypnosis. I forget the doctor's name. Right? It was. I actually had to keep the book. I saved up my dimes. There was a copy machine in the library. I made a Xerox copy of the entire book.
Nice.
Because it was that good. And it helped me a lot. So I created my own cassette tapes and hypnosis, very powerful, helped me overcome many problems. Helped me fix health problems when I was younger. It helped me in many, many ways. And it was because of that book, which I can't remember the author's name anymore. I just remember it was a self-hypnosis book. And the things that the guy wrote in the book, very crucial, very important, because he made a very powerful point to make sure that all suggestions are phrased in the positive and not the negative, because apparently your subconscious is too stupid to know the difference. So if you phrase something you want to happen in the negative is actually what's going to happen, not the positive. I remember examples. He had some for smoking.
Oh yeah, smoking, losing weight, drinking. I mean, so many different things. with that hypnosis can help. Past life fears, which carry over into this lifetime. So, you know, trauma, past life trauma, current life trauma. I mean, it's unbelievable what hypnosis can do.
Yeah, one of the things that shocked me when I started doing this, I would do it on a daily basis. For many years, I did it. One of the things that it shocked me after a while is, and I read it in the book, and at first I didn't quite believe it, but there was a thing where you would do self hypnosis, and you would tell yourself that, okay, this hypnosis is going to last for exactly 5 minutes. Now, I would go through the whole procedure that he had in the book, and then I would be in this hypnotic state. I guess it wasn't really like a meditative state. It was more like a hypnotic state. But that I would put myself into. But I would, every single time, whatever time I told myself that I'm going to wake up in this many minutes, my eyes are closed. I can't tell what time it is, but somehow I would wake up within 3 or 4 seconds of that time.
So and, it's like once the moment of self-realization occurs, boom.
Well, I don't know how. That told me that it was working, because if I told myself I'm going to hypnotize myself, I'm going to be in a hypnotic state for 5 minutes, and I would have some kind of repetitive thing. One of the things he suggested in the book was hypnotic suggestion that would simply repeat over and over again.
Yep.
Every day and every way, getting better and better. That was one of the ones. So you'd sit there, you'd go through the what they call a countdown procedure. You would, I would picture myself like sinking in a pool, and every time I passed the foot marker, I was in a deeper state of hypnosis until I got to the bottom, and then I'd be in a totally relaxed state, and then I would start in my head. It would, every day and every way, getting better and better. And I would just simply repeat over and over again, and then there would be a moment where I would feel like I have to come out now, and I would reverse the process. So from 8 to 7 feet to more awake to 6 feet. We're more refreshed and awake. It's all come back to me now as I'm thinking about it. Then you come out of the state, and I'd open my eyes and I'd check to see how much time went by. And if I said 5 minutes, boom, it was 2 seconds over. I mean, it was precise.
Yeah.
It was 5 minutes.
Yeah, I experienced that too. Yeah.
Right. And then I would do that daily, and I think it helped. My health got better. I thought problems or things that I was dealing with went away over time. It helped me be more confident, more stronger mentally, which I think later helped me figure out all this stuff. Yeah. Okay, so.
No, I think it's because you're training yourself, you're thinking outside the box, and you're willing, you're open to it. So in turn, you get the rewards, and then in return to that, you kind of expand your consciousness, your questioning, and go from there. Sure. I mean, there's a doctor, I forget his name, is it Lipton? Yep. Yeah, I've covered him a little bit. Yep.
Yeah, so his description of the subconscious is I think pretty accurate. So he said it's like a tape recorder. Mm-hmm. All it does is record crap that gets into it, and then it plays it back on a loop. Mm-hmm. So and then that's why we're all screwed up here. We're secretly sabotaged. Mm-hmm. Our consciousness has been fractured into these different states. Right. So you have your awake state. You have whatever's going on at night while I'm sleeping. Who knows what the hell's going on there? My body's probably astral body's probably floating around in the astral plane. Half the time I don't remember it. I still haven't heard a good explanation as to exactly where we go when we're dreaming. Is that like a reality bubble that I've created? You know, I mean, that could be like a temporary reality we gin up somehow. I mean, how do we know that isn't real in a sense? You know, and then there's the subconscious, which is there constantly screwing us over because we're sabotaged from the beginning. Everything we learn from time of birth until about 6 or 7 years old, you're in a half hypnotic state anyway. All the trash being put in there, and when you go to school at that early age, church, religion, family, it's all being shoved into your subconscious, and then of course you go off to indoctrination camp, aka school, where they mess you up even more. And then we're lucky anybody can figure anything out at all, really.
Oh, yeah, no, it's crazy. One of the videos I did, when was it? I think it was 2021, late last year or something. And I covered all his stuff, and I mean, really, I admire his work into early childhood development, and there's a few other people I discussed there as well. And it one of the biggest things I can't stress enough, especially to parents with children out there, and even though it's kind of like from birth to age 7, 6, 7, that we have the most influence over our children, they're still able to really take in things even after that. But because they're in such a different brain state from birth to age 7, you're able to, like, basically they're a sponge. They're just, everything that's around them, they're just taking in. So their surroundings, if you're playing a TV or if you're playing the radio or music, they're just a sponge for that information. And one of the most famous quotes by, I don't remember, it was like a Jesuit. It's a really old quote. Give me the boy till the age of 7 and I'll show you the man. What that implies is that, you know, if I give my child away to some Jesuit guy who knows how to program my child, then they're going to basically be more than likely be able to control them, you know, in their adulthood. And it's all because of that brainwave state that we're in from birth to age 7, because of that sponge mentality that we are. I mean, that's how this place works. It is ridiculously diabolical because
it's by design.
Oh,
by
absolutely.
Design.
Absolutely. It's so freaking obvious. It's not even funny. The whole thing with the human body, Dan, is in the development and how it works, how we're born ignorant, and like we're really in tune when we're younger. But then boom, it's like after that, like we're just like, you know, like freaking like these drones, because we're thrown into school, we're thrown into this, and like we have all these preconceived notions about what this place is, what we are, and what the whole world is in relation to us and it and them, and it's insane.
Sure. Schools are literally run like a prison.
Yep.
Literally.
Horrible.
I mean, it is. I mean, you got your everything is timed, right? You have to walk from this place to that place. You have this many minutes to get there.
Yep.
Everybody getting single file. Then you go into the cafeteria.
And if you don't, you'll be in trouble.
If you don't, you'll be punished.
Yep.
And then
go to detention.
You go to detention, which is the prison in the prison. It's like solitary confinement.
A prison within a prison. Well said.
It's solitary confinement is what it is. And then, the cafeteria and the tension, the cliques, it's prison. It's prison. If you go to a prison, it's the same exact fucking thing going on there. And for some reason, and so I went to Catholic school from kindergarten all the way into high school. So you can imagine the amount of crap I had to come to get to where I am right now. It's unbelievable.
Same, man. It's a hell of a journey.
Yeah, and public school wouldn't have been any better. It just would have been more statist centered instead of religious centered. But they were all corrupt. I told you, the guy that ran my Catholic high school, he eventually got locked up for embezzlement. He used to go up to New York. He was a priest.
So he did well for himself.
Yeah, embezzlement, and then he would go to New York City to get to be with hookers. I mean, and then he's telling me about morality. All these people are just psychos.
Yeah, they're all walking contradictions.
Yeah, it's all hypocrisy. There's hypocrisy on steroids. All these people. It's amazing. They don't even understand. People don't even understand. I don't even know how this happened. How America happened our Bill of Rights. That seems to be like an anomaly. There doesn't appear to be. I can't explain why that was allowed to happen.
Well, I totally agree. I did some digging on that, and it seems completely counterproductive for everything that happened. Exactly. But in the same breath, I think it's really important to say that I think our history has been so distorted and so screwed up.
Absolutely.
I mean, have you looked into the whole reset theory of, let's just call it it lands in the 1850s, but probably happened much, sooner before that, maybe early 1800s. And have you dove into any of that stuff? Because there's a lot of compelling evidence to suggest that, society was recently reset not that long ago.
It's possible. I've had my own theories about it. I mean, because I'm a gamer, and I mentioned this. I know I mentioned it on a previous talk we've had. But if you're playing like Tomb Raider, a game this virtual world that's created in to be run on your computer or your PlayStation or Xbox, and you're playing Tomb Raider in 2018, the game was probably programmed in 2017, but you're in this world, this matrix that you're gaming in, right? We live in a matrix, and we make matrices in our matrix, right?
That's right. That's well said. I totally agree.
No, so I'm in this world that's created. It has limitations. Obviously, way more controlled than our matrix here, which is more massive. But you're going, obviously, in Tomb Raider. You're going to go to these ancient ruins, but they're not ancient ruins. I mean, even if you thought that world was real, even if you were somehow be put inside of that matrix and you veil of forgetfulness and you think you're there and that's the real world, those ruins are not thousands of years old. They were programmed just a little while ago.
Put in there. Yep. That's the problem. We don't know.
We don't know. We don't know if the system here has given us ancient ruins along with history, or is that real history? Is the system here reset once in a while? There are movies out there that show you. I mean, I haven't seen the latest Jurassic Park, but here's a movie series where kind of shows that, right? Dinosaurs get extinct. We clone dinosaurs, and in this final movie, there's a clash because it could be the dinosaurs are going to extinct us, and then there's dinosaurs, and then what happens? They get extinct, and then more humans show up.
No.
No. And in the movie The Matrix, although there didn't have to be any other movie past the first one because the second and third one weren't that good. But there was a reset at the end of the last one, right? There was a Matrix reset, a reboot. It wasn't how it ended in the third original series, in the original series, something like that. So I don't know. Yeah, it could be.
We don't know. Yeah, I mean, we have no clue. I mean, that's the problem with all of this. But I really think there's a compelling argument, just by the basis of how technology and our recent history has progressed, that it does seem like, Earth was very recently repopulated. It does point to that, but it doesn't matter. I mean, regardless of whatever the hell is here, everything could be backdrops. Everything could be ways to deceive us and get us down these endless rabbit holes, asking this, asking that, blah blah blah, on and on. And
we're constantly told a core message, right?
Yeah.
Even Shakespeare, all the world's a stage.
Yes.
Everybody's players, right?
John D.
Yeah, the Wizard of Oz. I mean, we are constantly told in all these different ways that hey, what you're perceiving here is just a really good illusion. I don't know what did Einstein actually say. I mean, I've heard the quote, but I don't know if he actually said it. That reality is an illusion, although a really persistent one. I've read that quote. I don't know if he actually said it or not, but we're told stuff like that constantly. Yeah. Even quantum physicists will tell you, or even the Stargate documents. They map out that our reality is holographic. It's an illusion. I don't know if it's accurate or not, but the Mayans supposedly believe this.
Yeah, the whole Mayan thing is an anomaly in and of itself, but
sure,
who knows? I mean, just having that name, and then like at least as far as we're told, this huge populated area and barely any bodies. Where the hell did they all go? I mean, like, that's a question I've had forever, and I don't think I'll ever get the answer to it. And even if I was given an answer to it, doesn't mean I'd be satisfied with it, but because it would probably come from the mainstream, which I have no way to verify myself or even, frankly, care. But it's something I'm interested in. But if it's coming from outside, no. It really makes you wonder, were they able to transform their physical form, I guess, or transcend their physical form to something outside of here and run with it, like to leave, to escape? I mean, it really makes you wonder. Sure.
There's I mentioned to you on the phone last time we talked, Star Trek episode, the original series. There was one episode where it was their mind that they believed the guns were real, so that they were able to kill them. And it was back to the whole hypnosis thing. But there's an episode called Spectre of the Gun, where these aliens take the landing party of in the original Star Trek, Captain Kirk and Mr. Spock, Dr. McCoy and the others, and they put them in a matrix where it's like a half-ass recreation of the Wild West and the OK Corral. And while these basically, I guess, NPCs, these, it's like the Earps versus the Clantons in the OK Corral battle. And I guess the aliens wanted to see what would the interaction of humans and violence or something. And at some point, in that episode, Spock realizes that none of this is real, and Kirk is like, "Well, they shot Chekhov. Is Chekhov dead? He seems dead." And then Spock says, I don't know if he's actually dead, but I do know one thing, that this isn't real, and
Boom.
I know it's not real, so now I'm in control of it. And if and then he did the mind meld thing to purge their subconscious of their belief systems, so that when they shot at them, the bullets went right through them. It didn't kill them. And then there's another episode, now you mention it, where they land on this planet, and there's these very primitive people there, and there's a conflict between the Enterprise and the Federation and the Klingons. And toward the end of the show, these very simple, primitive, kind of medieval level people, they suddenly stop cooperating, and they let everybody know, your form is very painful to us. We haven't been like this in thousands of years. We're light beings, and you guys are, we've tried to accommodate you, but you all have to leave now. And then they all like turned into these brilliant white light beings, and then kind of made the Federation and the Klingon Empire go away. I don't know if you ever remember seeing that episode. Did you ever see that, Mark?
No, I don't believe so.
It was in the original series, and there's a lot of stuff in that series that was kind of deep, and I don't know. Didn't you say Gene Roddenberry, or somebody told me Gene Roddenberry claimed that he didn't get the stories?
Oh, yeah, I talked about that. Yeah, dude, that was. I think I sent you the research on that. It's absolutely mind blowing. The person who did it had a heavy Christian belief system, obviously, but I mean, he did a hell of a job researching that video, or that information, and there were open admissions left and right of him basically not getting that. He claimed himself he got it from a quote unquote council.
Yeah, and I'm not saying Roddenberry was a good guy. I'm not saying anything like that. And it's like the same crap. Like, they have all this stuff they're showing you on the original Star Trek. The new Star Trek is even more trash than ever. But the original Star Trek promoted, behind everything, it was promoting, again, hierarchy of rulership. I mean, it's not like you can go somewhere in the Star Trek universe and be free of authority. You're either in the Federation, or you're in the Romulan Empire, or you're in the Klingon Empire, and there's always somebody telling you what to do. And they tried to make it seem like it was the Federation was some utopia where you could be ruled and happy.
Yes.
But in fact, it was a lot of propaganda in the show. It wasn't like, but at the same time, it's like what we were talking about before. They blend in it's very clever mind control. They blend in truth, which resonates with you, and also kind of like this control message that's kind of mixed in there. Yeah. Roddenberry got it from a council. Maybe he did. There's a lot of NDEs that you meet this Council of Nine, right? Or this council.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah, no, yeah. He talked about getting the information directly from some council. I mean, which is, in my opinion, what? The Council of Elders. I mean, what the hell else could it be? I mean, it has to be something like that. And then you think about all of these musicians, these authors, these the TV and movie script writers, and on and on and on, where they say, oh, well, I don't know where the information came from. I had a dream and it just came to me and I wrote it all down. Or like, hey, I was up late at night and, all of a sudden this came to me from somewhere outside. Like they admit it over and over and over again. They say it came from somewhere exterior to me. Yeah, they are, quote unquote, the original author of whatever the narrative is that they're tasked to express, but in the same breath, it's not their original thought. They will openly admit that it's coming from something outside of them. So to me, all this stuff just screams of you have the system that is trying to deceive, and then you have the system that is trying to garner your consent by throwing the truth at you at the same time. And then kind of bundling it all up together in hopes that you'll just stay confused.
That's why to get back to that point, that's why the Bill of Rights is like such an anomaly. There's a an official writing, right, that's telling you individuals have these rights and they don't come from any authority. You're just born with them. And I'm like, wow, that is totally different than anything we've ever been told and any other. I mean, it doesn't say, oh, we're granting you these rights. It says you have them naturally. And they shouldn't be violated. Of course, they're violated left and right constantly.
Of course.
We're constantly being violated here. Constantly.
Oh, up, down, left, and right. Yeah. And then the New Agers will say, oh, but it's non-interference clause. Nothing can interfere with you here. It's part of your free will.
Oh, God.
Yeah, I mean, it's like one of the most appalling things that I hear them say is just discounting everything. Like, oh, it's the non-interference clause. So, God, the creator, the Palladians, the good, all the good ones can't interfere with us because of our free will. But, we sure as hell know that there's a lot of negative shit that can clearly interfere with our life while we're here, either in the physical or spiritually. Doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Like, it goes both ways. But yet, for some reason, that that positive connection that's trying to help us just can't seep through. It's because of non-interference clause. That is honestly one of the things that fumes me the most.
Absolutely
because
ridiculous.
There are so many people that say that shit, and it's just completely bullshit.
The whole love life thing, total ridiculous. The only thing I can make sense of is that because it's technically temporary, even though you're tricked into reincarnation over and over again, and it's kind of like our own fault, right? We get addicted, we forget, we don't remember, but you still had to agree to this experience.
Yep.
And I think it literally works like anything else that we do. You're in a hurry to use something, and they show you the terms of service. Who reads the terms of service?
Yes. Yeah.
Nobody reads them. They're like, yeah. That looks really interesting. I want to try it out. And then when you're in, now you can't get out. Now, I mean, you can, but you have to take who knows how many lifetimes before you end up in one like we're in now, where you have access to all this information. You have the willingness to research it.
Yeah, unrelenting.
And you have to have the willingness to fight your own cognitive dissonance, to purge your subconscious programming, and then finally to come to the terms for what this reality is really all about. And then you have to have the willpower. When this is over.
Yeah, and stand in the face of all this stuff that kind of tries to pressure you to divert yourself back to the normal programming.
Yeah, so I think that's the only reason they get away with it. Well, how did the psychos get away with it here? Because you agreed to it, first of all. You agree. They gave it to you like a game.
Yeah.
Hey, honestly, it's no different, right? If I sit down to play a game that has violence, death in it, suffering, I'm consciously aware that it's not real. Although here, what they've done is they even in Monroe's books, The Gatekeeper, or whatever, he's like, it's gonna be like real. It's gonna, you'll have to forget who you are temporarily, so that it can be as real as possible. And everybody's in line trying to get in. Oh, that looks so exciting! Look at all that mental noise. I want to try this out.
Yeah, I think Wayne talked about this too. Wayne Bush at trickedbythelight.com. Everyone's got to check out his website. And while we're talking about that, check out Dan at OverWatchProject.com. At OverWatchProject.com. And then he's OverWatchChannel here on YouTube. He's also Overwatch Project on ODYSEE. There are links in the description. I think... it's I forgot what point I was going to make. So I'll leave it there.
You start off with Wayne Bush.
And, but what was the point before that you mentioned? You said something.
The agreement that you basically, it's like the terms of service. The agreement.
Yes. He I think it's one of the things I think Wayne mentioned, and I think it's a compelling point, is he says, well, you can also look at it this way. You're an eternal being who, you can't die. No matter what the hell happens, you can't die. And you're given, quote unquote, an opportunity to forget everything that you ever knew about your eternal being state, all your memories, everything. And so it's kind of like the challenge of all challenges. And so you agree to it because, that's like the challenge of all challenges. And I thought that was an interesting one that he brought up. And I tend to, that's something I bring up regularly and always credit Wayne for saying, because I think there's something to that. I mean, I know me. I'm a naturally curious person. I ask questions. I put shit to the test all the time. And to me, something like that kind of makes sense. It really does.
I remember when he said that. Yeah. I watched your Wayne Bush series, and I remember that because it stuck out. And I think I'm absolutely right.
I'm not saying one way or the other, but I think it makes sense.
Sure,
as a possibility.
Look at it this way. You're an eternal being that can never cease to exist. You're this consciousness that's eternal. You will never cease to exist. And somebody offers you the opportunity to experience what it would be like to have a very limited existence.
Yes.
Where you cease to exist.
Yep.
Well, first of all, it would be like, wow, it's mind-blowing, right? If you think about it from a naive perspective, especially, and from a detached perspective.
Yes.
Where you can even, because it's like, okay, if I'm viewing a video game with, like I said, death and violence in it, from my detached exterior perspective, to me, it's just a game, and nobody's actually dying. There's nothing. It's not real.
Well, and you don't know what like a human body feels like either. You have no clue. Like, oh, what's pain? What's suffering? What's death? I don't know. It is what it is. Oh, okay. Sign me up.
Yeah. Why wouldn't you? You might. It would be like a unique experience, but the way they set up the system here, you get caught in a loop over and over and over and over. Some of this stuff is ridiculous. Anybody that says with a straight face, like you mentioned in some of these life between lives things, where if he, I can't remember the exact example, but
it's a learning experience.
They came here. They've been reborn 1,000 times. To learn, and it was to learn something.
Empathy. I think, something like that. Yeah.
Come on.
5. I think it was 5. Either 5. Okay, look, if it's 5,000 lifetimes, just hang me up by a fucking scaffold right now. If it's okay, I'll just say, look, I better watch my words. Let me just say this: like, if let me just stop for a minute. If you or anyone around you is ever feeling suicidal, please check the description tab of the video tonight and the comment sections. I always leave links to your local country's suicide hotline or emergency services phone number, and they're all there. I do not in any way talk or condone about suicide, and I know Dan doesn't, and I know Wayne doesn't either. I mean, I think the biggest thing is that we're supposed to just kind of garner experience along the way. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Dan.
No, yeah. If you signed up for the experience and you rage quit, let's put it that way.
Yeah.
You'll be back.
Well,
you're not going to get out. You're not going to get out then.
I totally agree. It seems like why wouldn't you? Also, why wouldn't you take advantage of all the time that you have available to you to just further that intention, further that that inner knowing that you are gonna make it the hell out of here, and that's it. I mean,
you got to follow it to the end, but also there is so much trash that is compacted in the subconscious mind that you need every second that you can get here to try to purge. Like I said, I've been dealing with this for years and years now, and I know there's still a remnant of trash programming in it. I know that it's there. I can tell you that it's there because to test myself, okay? I know that everything I've been taught in religion is trash, mind control. Consciously, I know it. But I still have difficulty feeling, I have an uncomfortable feeling if I were to try to utter certain words which would be considered, sacrilegious or blasphemous, just to see if I'm still connected to that system. And so you need to, every second here counts. Every second counts because it's more to your advantage, period.
And the other thing to remember is it's our last time. I mean, who knows how many lifetimes we've been here. It's our last time. Try to enjoy yourself, try to make the best of it that you can, because you're not coming back here. That's the intention, right? That you don't want to come back here. So try to make the best of it that you can.
Yeah. I mean,
and garner knowledge, throw that intention out there. Remember also, I can't speak enough about meditating on this. Just think about throw meditation aside, just our conscious life. If we are building and building and building and building that intention that we're not, non-interference, nothing's going to mess with us. We're not going to go to any, we do not allow any sort of entity interaction, no sort of tunnel. We're not flying through any tunnels. We're not going to any light. We're not interacting with anything at all. And we're proclaiming our true essence. What's wrong with putting that out there every single day and just firing at it and making it known? There is no possible room for error because your intention is clear. So you're going to set yourself up where you're not going to have deathbed visions and visitations. You're not going to be having any, Auntie May and all these clowns coming down and trying to tell you to go to the light, go down to the tunnel and tell you what to do. No, you're shutting it off right here, right now, and you're building and building and building as your life goes on. And whenever your time comes, it comes. That's it. So then there's
Yep.
no room for error. Your cause is well known, your intention is well known, and nothing is going to stand in your way. Now, if you throw doubt into that and submit to these things and have this concept of what if this, what if that, what if this, what if that, well, they're going to swoop in and take advantage of you. I mean, that's just the stone cold truth. I'm sorry. The intention needs to be clear. That's sorry. That's just the way it is. You can't doubt yourself here.
Yep. No, you're absolutely right. The intention has to be crystal clear. Matter of fact, sometimes when you're alone and you're driving somewhere, you could just actually speak your intention because you're putting it out there. I'm not going to be, I'm free. I'm sovereign. When this is over, I'm going to be free. Nothing can interfere with me. You can just put it out there because apparently speaking is a form of magic, right?
Yeah. Yep. All right, Dan. I mean, we're at 9:30. I didn't realize this. I'm sorry for keeping you so long.
Well, that's all right. Had a good time tonight.
Yeah.
Thanks for having me on. I'll be back soon, I'm sure.
Absolutely. Can I just throw 2 questions your way?
Yeah, sure. Go ahead.
All right. Abstract Angel Artist says, Dan, what if we are eternal beings, no creator, no beginning, no end, always were, always will be eternal?
Wow, that's a good question.
It is.
Well, it's possible that instead of there being one creator, that there was just a sudden explosion of consciousness that, made an infinite number of, I guess you could say, beings or individual bits of consciousness. And then, from that, things get made, like worlds and universes and realms. And it could be, because
it's tough to say, right?
I don't know, because the creator, whatever the source was, doesn't seem to interact with us.
No, the source don't give a shit.
if you understand, I mean, first of all, if it gave us free will, it can't interact with us.
Yeah, but then that flies in the face of what we were talking about earlier, bro, right? I mean, how we can be interfered with while we're here, but I will say this, like, we're in their world. We agreed to come here. So perhaps everything that kind of encompasses that system, it has free reign because we agreed to the terms of service to come into this realm.
Yeah, that's how I think it works.
So that kind of throws out that the creator can possibly come in and interfere with us, and that's the one that supposedly gave us free will, if we're going to go there.
Oh, yeah, sure. So if there is something like that, but at the same time we agreed, it's kind of like that line in Airplane, in the 1980 Airplane comedy. They bought their tickets. They knew what they were getting into. I say let them crash.
Oh shit, that's a great example.
Right?
So I mean, example.
The creator could be like that, like saying they knew what they were getting into.
Yeah, or it just doesn't care. I put forth that it just doesn't care. It's busy creating. It doesn't give a shit. It's got all these worlds or all these beings that it created. Do you think it gives a shit about what's happening here? I mean,
no, probably
really?
Not. And at the same time,
it's busy.
It's busy. And if it made creator beings to create more, then I mean, there's all kinds of. In the book of Hermetics, it basically says he calls it the all, and that it's not understandable. But because we're its creation, we cannot understand it because we're we're in the creation, so it's kind of like
and we're so limited.
We're totally limited.
I mean, it's like, it's a joke. It's a total joke how condensed we are, how limited we are with our perception. I mean, it's a total clown show. All right, I have
the other question.
Yeah, I have one more. Anton Love says to Mark or Dan, do you guys have any tips or techniques, gut feeling, to be able to discern if thoughts that pop in your head are truly yours or are induced?
What do you think about that, Mark?
In my opinion, I guess I've gotten better with discerning exterior thought forms, like oh my god. Okay, I'm about to talk about some things that I really never want to talk about, and I've thought about discussing them on the channel before, but I'm going to, and it is what it is. There was a time when, okay, so my dog, she's sleeping on the couch, okay, and she usually sleeps right next to me. Like, she's very clingy. And I woke up one night. Now, this is again, I don't even like talking about this shit, but I'm going to talk about it for the sake of putting this out there. It's like, this is not coming from you. You know how you live your life. You know how you feel. You care about your dog. You care about your son, your daughter, your wife, your husband, whatever. All right. So I am laying down on my bed. So I'm not laying down. I'm dead asleep. Okay. And I wake up in the middle of the night and I am like pushing down on my dog. But like, I wake up in the middle of the night. I'm like, whoa, what am I doing? And my dog is like freaking out. All right. Like, I don't even like mentioning this. Okay. But then I've also had times where intrusive thoughts have told me to do something really fucked up to my dog. All right.
Yeah, okay.
All right.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I know that's not me. I can discern that. I know for a fucking fact that's not me. But it's something projecting itself into me, trying to tell me to do that. All right. And I'm not going to say any more, but that should give you an idea.
No, yeah, no, I totally understand. So, yeah, I've had that same. Okay. So the other day I was having this dreaded sensation. There was no logical reason for it. But I was feeling this sense of dread or negativeness, and it was like, and it wasn't me. It wasn't from me. Or I've had, you have these thoughts pop into your head. They're not my thoughts, but I can clearly tell them apart.
You know the difference, yeah.
My thoughts are from me, and they sound like me, and they speak. It's me speaking to myself in my head, my thoughts. Having some bizarre thought pop into your head from nowhere is, it's the Matrix messing with you.
Yeah.
I mean, and just be aware of it and push it away. I hostily push away when I sense, and believe me, these things, they will react. They will react. They don't want to mess with you when you're aware, and you can mentally threaten them, and best get
Wow.
best get away from me, because after this lifetime is over, I might just come find you and deal with you. You're not gonna like it.
Yeah.
So um, same thing. Same thing. If a human is threatening you, you can tell them. You can tell them. You can do it. You can threaten me now, but someday in the afterlife, I'll come and we'll settle this score. you know. But yeah, but yeah, I agree with you. Yeah.
Yeah, I
Some
mean,
other thoughts.
it's some of the most disturbing shit, and I don't,
Yeah, I was a
I mean, I
child.
don't even like talking about it because
No, yeah,
you
yeah. I was
know,
a child, and I had once I had this bizarre thought pop in my head, and I knew even then. It was 8 or 9 years old, and I was like, it was like a thought of violence, and it had no place being there, and I was like, this isn't me. This isn't. That's not me. So, and even then, I was like, what? Where did that thought come from? That's ridiculous.
yeah,
And I was just kind of like, now, some people out there are not only susceptible, their brains are, the brain, first of all, is there to screw you over. And there's people with brains that are wired poorly, and you get like schizophrenics, and they're hearing all kinds of voices. I
yeah. Oh,
don't think those
schizophrenics.
voices are fake. I think they're
No,
coming
they're
from the
not
ether,
fake.
and they're hearing all the hostile or negative crazy thoughts that are out there in this matrix. So
No,
does that it,
no,
Mark?
no, I totally agree. We'll wrap things up, but yeah, no,
Yeah.
it comes from the outside and totally just messes with you to maybe do something subconsciously, like it happened in my sleep when it occurred, and
That could
I
have been
woke
from
up
the
and my
astral
dog's
plane.
like, oh, I'm like,
Yeah.
whoa, and it just shook me out of it immediately. But
You might have been entangled with something in the astral plane,
well,
and
yeah, and she sleeps right next to me, like like
yeah,
right next to me. I mean, she's very clingy, so it's
yeah, yeah.
but
Oh,
it's like that shook me up, man. Shook me up. So what I do now is I put this pillow in between me, between
mhm.
us at night. So like she's there, but I have the pillow over her. I mean that I literally started it the next night when that happened because it's not like I was doing it. I was just asleep.
Right.
So I really don't even like talking about this shit. I don't, but I'm saying it because I think it's important to talk about.
Yeah,
So
yeah, and also thanks for whoever pointed out this Galen Windsor guy. I'm going to look into his. I got his video in
yes,
front of me
yeah,
right now.
definitely
There's a
check
lot of
him out.
yeah. Wow, it's not interesting
Yeah,
stuff there.
he did a lecture tour, Dan, showing and eating. What's funny is he had intelligence following him around from city to city, and they said I think he even talks about it in one of the lectures. He says, they wanted to follow him to make sure that he was okay.
Mhm.
That he wasn't going to have a negative reaction to doing, to eating whatever he was eating. I don't know. It was like some sort of like, I don't even remember what it was. Some sort of
Well,
thing that
I
should kill
see.
you.
Yeah, I see. There's all kind. There's a 47-minute lecture from him, and there's videos talking about him. Very interesting. I'm gonna check him out tonight, later
Yeah.
tonight. All right, thanks, Mark.
All right, Dan, it's been a pleasure. Thank you so much, as always, for hanging out. And
And thanks for everybody for tuning in.
I just want to give you a quick heads up. I casted a poll before you leave. It said, have you ever had intrusive thoughts targeted towards those you care about, animals, humans, etc.? 71% said yes, 29% said no. So Seems like, yeah, the system is crazy. And, you know, it's just all about talking about this honestly. So, again, thank you, Dan, for coming on tonight. I really appreciate it. And I know everyone out there appreciates it. And
Yeah, thanks
look
for
forward to
tuning
talking
in.
again.
Thanks everybody for listening and commenting and your questions and everything. Thanks.
Yeah, and sorry for keeping you so long tonight, brother.
That's all right.
right,
I'll
man.
talk to you guys later.
All right, take care.
Bye-bye.
All right, my friends. Thank you so much for tuning in tonight. Just got a couple things I wanted to talk about. Just so you know, we do have a Discord server if you'd like to join us afterwards. Jimmy just posted that in the live chat there. So if you'd like to join us after the show in the voice chat, feel free. And there are a few mods who will help voice verify you to bring you on to the main server and join us shortly. And also I have 2 YouTube backup channels if you'd like. Forever Conscious Research channel 2 and 3, just in case something should ever happen here. Sorry about the dog. Just in case something should ever happen here. Those are where I'll be. And then I also have an Instagram where I've done exclusive content that I haven't posted on YouTube yet. And you can check those out. There's a 3 video series on the crossover between DMT and near-death experiences. And then there is also, I have a Twitter, an ODYSEE where my videos are mirrored, and I have done exclusive live streams over on ODYSEE. I have a DLIVE for anyone interested. And also, if anyone would like, I have also memberships here on YouTube, the Last Timers Club. There are 3 levels. The first level is an like appreciation level, just like a supporter level. And then there are some bonus videos that pop up once in a while and bonus live streams. And then I have level 2 where I have guaranteed monthly live streams if you'd like some additional content each month. And then there's level 3. You can check out the description tab for further information. And as I like to always say, important information that pertains to the soul trap will never be withheld in exchange for money. But your support is always appreciated. So, but if you want a little extra content each month, a little more personalized experience, the memberships are great. And we have monthly streams that go back to last October. And then there's also a website coming along. It's still being worked on, but I hope to get it done soon. And thank you so much to each and every one of you for coming out tonight. I want to thank DL for the $5 super chat. Thank you so much. Kalato from Discord server. Important stuff we're doing here. Yes, absolutely. It's so crucial that we get this information out. And I think I want to leave on that note. You know, I don't expect money from anyone. I don't. It helps in these times, but you know what also helps? And what's more important above everything else is spreading the word. Sharing this information, sharing Dan's channel at OverWatchChannel here on YouTube and OverWatchProject.com and OverWatchProject on ODYSEE, and also checking out Wayne Bush at TrickedByTheLight.com. That's Wayne Bush at TrickedByTheLight.com. These, you know, Dan, who was on tonight, and Wayne Bush at TrickedByTheLight.com, those are the 2 people I trust. These are the 2 researchers that are in the weeds doing the work that I trust. They're not making bold claims. They're backing up what they say with data. They're not just spitting things out and hoping that you believe. They're backing it up with evidence, just like I try to do here with experiencer data. We're all kind of in the same boat. We're not trying to get you to blindly believe, but to try to get you to believe based on the totality of the evidence, as Dan says. It's about the patterns. Pattern recognition is key. If you have hundreds and thousands of cases over and over and over again, and they're saying the same thing constantly, well, that shows you what's going on here. And there are almost 20 different topics and subtopics that link to this thing, and they all cross over with one another to show the evidence that what we're talking about is happening. So please just open your minds, open your hearts, and stick up for yourself. Now, it may take a little while to kind of see everything that's going on, but I promise you, if you hang in there, it'll click at some point. It just might take a little while because it depends on how much time you have, how much research you've done on different other topics and all this stuff. But I mean, after a while, it becomes very obvious that we're all being taken for a ridiculous ride. So please hang in there. Anyone who's on the fence, hang in there. Check out Wayne's site. Check out Dan's site. Check out Dan's videos on his channel. Check out the interviews I did with Wayne here on this channel. We did a 9 interview series. I don't even know how many hours it was. It was ridiculous. We dove into everything, and Wayne will come on again in the future, and I'm hoping to get Wayne and Dan together. We'll all talk together. And Wayne, if you're listening out there, I love you, brother. I hope you're doing well, and I'm sorry that we've life's been crazy on my end, and and I look forward to talking with you again and getting together like a round table with Dan and you and myself, and then also getting one-on-one again with you, Wayne. So I hope you're doing well out there, my friend. And Dan, thank you so much for coming on tonight. I really appreciate it. If anyone wants to join the Discord server and the voice chat after the show, please check us out. Jimmy just recently passed out the Discord invite link, and I look forward to seeing each and every one of you out there. And we will have a show on Sunday, so that's coming up on Sunday, June 12th, 2022. Probably going to be about 4 p.m. Eastern, but it may be sooner or later. I don't know. Don't rely on me for times. I try to stick to times, but I'm not great at it. So whenever it'll be. And I look forward to seeing each and every one of you. I hope you all have a great rest of your weekend. Remember, you're sovereign beings. You got the balls of steel out there, whether you have them or not. And you're sovereign. That's your goal. You're sovereign. You don't have to answer to anything. Stand firm in your resolve. Don't let this crap take a hold of you. And I look forward again to seeing each and every one of you this Sunday. Thank you.